Commander Elias Ward had seen many strange places during his years in the United Earth Diplomatic Corps, but nothing compared to the Australian Dominion's outer embassy. It floated in the dark like a giant crystal lantern, glowing in soft shades of blue and silver. Light seemed to move inside its walls as if the structure were alive, breathing slowly, patiently. His transport shuttle drifted toward the landing platform. Elias stood near the window, studying the architecture. The building was tall and elegant, made from a material that looked like polished diamond. Thin towers rose into the sky, curving like the branches of a glass tree. Everything felt quiet, a calm that carried weight, like the silence of a place where important decisions were made. Humanity had only known about the Australians for 12 years. Contact had been rare. Meetings were careful and controlled. Even now, receiving an invitation to visit their capital world was considered an extraordinary honor. But the message that came with the invitation had been even more surprising. We must speak. A danger grows in the dark, faster than you believe. The sender was Lady Serapha Valcorin, an Australian noblewoman whose name was spoken with respect across several star systems. She was said to be young by her people's standards, only a few hundred years old, but already powerful, gifted with a rare ability called memory weaving. Humans barely understood it. Some described it as telepathy. Others called it a deep memory link. But whatever it was important enough that Earth Command asked Elias to go at once. The shuttle landed with a soft click. The doors opened, and a gentle breeze brushed against his face. The air smelled faintly of flowers, even though no plants were in sight. 2 Australian guards greeted him. Their armor was smooth and pale, like moonlight turned solid. Their faces were calm, unreadable. "Commander Elias Ward," one said in a melodic voice. "Welcome to the Dominion. Lady Serapha awaits you." Elias nodded politely. "Lead the way." They guided him inside. The interior hallways sparkled with shifting lights, like rivers of stars flowing through crystal channels. The floor was soft beneath his boots. Not carpet, not stone. Something in between. Every step created a faint ripple of color. Elias tried not to stare too much. Diplomats had to look calm, no matter how impressed they were. Eventually, the guards stopped at a pair of tall doors. They opened silently at a gesture. Beyond them was a wide chamber shaped like a circle. The ceiling stretched high above, carved with patterns that looked like constellations. And standing at the center was Lady Serapha. She was tall, graceful, and carried an aura of quiet strength. Her skin glowed with a soft silver tone, and her eyes were bright like twin stars. Her hair flowed behind her like strands of pale light. She wore no crown, but Elias felt as if the entire space bent gently around her presence. When she turned toward him, it felt like the room brightened. "Commander Ward," she said, her voice soft but clear. "Thank you for coming so quickly." Elias stepped forward with a respectful bow. "It is," she replied, her glowing eyes sharpening. "The hollow wraiths move faster than your people estimate. They devour memory, identity, and history. They undo entire cultures as if they were sand in the wind." Elias had heard reports frightening, scattered, incomplete, ships lost, stations emptied, entire species forgetting their own traditions overnight. A threat like no other, for it did not take lives first. It took meaning. "What do you need from humanity?" Elias asked. She stepped closer, and he noticed that she walked as if gravity had less effect on her. Her movements light and flowing. Information, truth, clarity of intention. Then she paused, studying him with a look he could not decipher. "And trust." Elias nodded. "We want the same. An alliance, if possible." Serapha tilted her head slightly, as if listening to something far away. "An alliance is possible, but the Australian Dominion cannot accept words alone. We cannot form bonds on promises that may break under pressure." Her voice lowered, filled with something solemn. "We must know your mind, your truth, your will." The wraiths erase. To fight them, we need those who hold. Elias frowned slightly. "And how do you plan to learn these things?" Serapha extended her hand toward him, palm open, glowing faintly with silver light. "A memory weave." He felt a chill, not fear exactly, but something close. Humanity knew little about this ritual. The stories said that memory weaving allowed an Australian noble to see into your thoughts, emotions, and buried experiences. But it also altered the mind, in return. It created a deep understanding between both sides, something permanent. Serapha seemed to sense his hesitation. Her voice softened. "It is safe, but it is deep. When we weave memories, surface attachments fade. Distracting emotions fall away. It is not harmful, but it changes how you see others." Then she spoke the strange, unforgettable words from her message. "Touch me, and you will forget every other girl." Elias blinked, confused. She gave a small, calm smile, not flirtatious, not teasing, simply factual. "In our tongue," she explained, "it means, your mind will hold no shallow bonds after this. Only truth will remain." It is a saying from an ancient ritual, not meant in your human romantic sense. Elias let out a slow breath he did not realize he was holding. He didn't fully understand. Not yet. But he understood enough to know there was no inappropriate meaning behind her words. This was political, cultural, and deeply ceremonial. Still, memory weaving was permanent. Once done, it could not be undone. Serapha looked at him, waiting patiently. Her expression was calm, but something like hope flickered in her silver eyes. "Commander Ward," she said gently, "I would not ask this of you if I believed humanity was weak. But you are not weak. You endure. You adapt. You rise again, after every fall. We need your strength to stand against the wraiths. And you need our knowledge." Elias took a slow breath, thinking. He was here to protect humanity's future. A decision like this was heavy, but not unexpected. Diplomats often carried burdens that others never saw. He stepped closer. "What will happen if I agree?" he asked. "We will link minds," Serapha replied. "You will see fragments of my people's past. I will see fragments of yours. We will build a bridge of shared understanding. And through that bridge, we can plan a defense strong enough to survive what is coming." "And if I refuse?" Elias asked quietly. Serapha did not look angry, only sad. "Then we will still speak, but only with words. And words alone may not be strong enough to hold back the dark." Elias stood silently for a long moment. The room felt bigger. The air felt still. His heart beat steadily. And then he made his decision. He raised his hand and placed it gently against hers. Her skin felt cool, smooth, almost weightless. The moment their palms touched, a gentle wave of silver light spread outward. Serapha's eyes widened slightly, surprised and impressed. "You choose well, Commander Ward." The room dimmed. The walls shimmered. Light swirled around them like drifting stars. He felt something like a soft wind brushing against the inside of his mind, clearing away noise and uncertainty. Voices faded. Worlds opened. And Elias realized, with a shock, that he had stepped into something far greater than a diplomatic negotiation. He had stepped into the heart of the Australian mind. The memory weave had begun. The moment Elias touched Serapha's hand, the chamber dissolved around them. The crystal walls, the silver lights, even the floor beneath their feet, all faded into a soft white haze. It felt as if gravity loosened, as if the world itself had taken a breath and exhaled everything into silence. Elias did not fall. He simply drifted, weightless. A faint silver glow appeared ahead of him, shaping itself into a doorway of light. Through it, he could see shifting images, some sharp like memories, some blurred like dreams. Serapha's voice reached him, though he was not sure if he heard it with his ears or felt it inside his mind. Do not fight the weave. Let it guide you. He saw her standing beside him, though she looked slightly different here. Her glow was brighter. Her hair moved like floating threads of starlight, and her eyes reflected entire galaxies. In the memory weave, she was not just a noblewoman. She was a symbol of her people's history. Elias nodded, and together they stepped through the doorway. Instantly, the world changed. He stood in a wide valley under a purple sky, filled with thousands of tall, luminous trees. The trees shimmered like crystal towers, growing from the earth. When the wind blew, their branches chimed like gentle bells. This, Serapha said softly, is my people's birthplace, the Valley of First Light. Elias touched one of the crystal trees. It felt smooth and warm, humming with faint energy. It's beautiful. Serapha's smile was calm but tinged with sadness. It was. Long before the wraiths came, the sky darkened suddenly. Clouds thickened, turning black at the edges. Elias felt a chill, even though the air stayed warm. A rumble echoed across the valley. Then everything froze. Serapha turned to him. This is only a memory. You are safe, but you must see what we saw. Slowly, the scene resumed like a paused recording starting again. Shapes formed in the sky, shadowy, formless, drifting like smoke in the wind. They had no eyes, no bodies, just silhouettes that seemed carved from nothingness. When they moved, the trees dimmed. The wind stopped. Elias watched in tense silence as an Australian village appeared near the edge of the valley. The buildings were elegant and glowing, but their light flickered as if afraid. The shadows descended. They did not attack with weapons. They did not shout or roar. They simply touched the buildings and the people. Wherever they passed, color drained away. Lights dimmed. People fell still, confused, blinking as if trying to remember something important but failing. What are they doing? Elias whispered. They eat memory, Serapha said quietly. Not physical memories, but the cultural roots that make a society whole. Traditions, songs, names, beliefs. He watched as an Australian elder tried to speak to a young child, but the words faded from his lips halfway. The child looked lost, unsure why she was standing there. One by one, the villagers forgot their own history, unable to recall the names of their ancestors, the meaning of their rituals, even the purpose of their homes. Serapha continued, her voice tight with pain. The wraiths leave bodies alive, but minds empty. A person who loses their past loses themselves. Elias felt a heavy knot in his chest. He had seen war, disaster, famine, but this was different. This was erasure, slow and quiet, like a story being rewritten by an invisible hand. And you survived this? He asked. Not all of us, Serapha said. But enough. We escaped to the stars. We built barriers. We hid. And we learned that certain minds resist the wraiths better than others. She looked at him now, her silver eyes steady. Your people are among them. The scene dissolved again. This time, Elias found himself in a dark chamber with floating symbols and glowing orbs of memory. Each orb contained scenes of Australian history, great cities, ancient ceremonies, victories, and tragedies. Serapha walked among them, touching one gently. The orb expanded, showing her as a child, learning her first memory weave under the guidance of her father. He was tall, calm, and gentle, with the same silver eyes she possessed. He was a great weaver, she said softly. He believed memories were not just knowledge, but the soul of a civilization. What happened to him? Elias asked. Serapha paused, her hand trembling slightly. He was taken by the wraiths. A long silence followed. She touched another orb. It showed the Dominion Council debating, their voices urgent. A map of the galaxy glowed between them, with dark patches spreading across its surface. "The wraiths are growing stronger," Serapha said. "They spread through unanchored minds, those who carry guilt, confusion, or fractured identities. But humans," she turned to Elias, "your minds are messy, chaotic, filled with stubbornness, humor, hope, and a constant desire to make sense of the universe. Your memories anchor themselves in strange ways. You are harder for the wraiths to erase." Elias blinked. "So our chaos helps us survive?" "Yes," she said with a faint smile. "Your imperfections protect you." The light shifted again, and suddenly Elias stood on a metal walkway overlooking Earth from orbit. The planet spun quietly below blue oceans. Green land, white clouds. Serapha reached out her hand, and the scene froze. "This is your world," she said. "Show me its truth." Elias inhaled deeply. This was his turn. He thought of Earth, not just its beauty, but its storms, its chaos, its people arguing, loving, building, failing, rising, the good and the bad, the mistakes and the victories. The memory weave responded. The frozen Earth brightened, and thousands of human memories began to appear around them like floating shards of colored glass. A child learning to walk, a mother laughing at spilled paint, a teacher inspiring a classroom, a firefighter charging into smoke, a family celebrating a birthday, a soldier saluting a flag before deployment, a scientist discovering something new, a lost traveler finding their way home. Serapha's eyes widened. She saw human grief painful, but honest. She saw human anger intense but fleeting. She saw human joy bright like a sunrise. She saw human stubbornness, the never-give-up spirit that refused to accept defeat. From each memory, Elias felt her understanding grow. "Your people," Serapha whispered, "are loud. Inside your minds." Elias laughed softly. "We are a lot, yes." She touched a memory shard showing a family dinner full of arguments, jokes, noise, and warmth. So much emotion. So many contradictions. But all connected. All anchored. "That's humanity," Elias said. "We fight. We shout. We break things. Then we build again. We learn again. We try again." Serapha turned slowly to face him. "This is why you can stand against the wraiths. They erase what is simple, structured, predictable. But humans are not simple. Your memories grow in tangled roots. You cannot be erased easily." For the first time since the weave began, Elias saw hope in her expression. Hope mixed with relief. Then the chamber suddenly darkened, and a loud hum filled the air. Serapha's eyes narrowed. "What's happening?" Elias asked. "We are being interrupted," she said urgently. "The wraiths sense our link. They are trying to breach the outer psychic barrier." Elias felt the space around them tremble. Serapha placed her hand on his forehead, steadying him. "Do not fear. I can hold them back. But you must focus." "Focus on what?" "On your memories," she said. "Hold them tight. Be human. Be loud." Shadowy shapes appeared at the edges of the mind realm, drifting closer, not inside the memory weave yet, but pressing against it, searching for weakness. Elias felt panic rising, but Serapha's voice guided him like a steady light. "Remember your home, your purpose, your people." He did. He remembered Earth. He remembered humanity's stubborn courage. He remembered why he came here to protect his world from a threat no one fully understood. The shadows recoiled slightly, pushed back by the strength of his resolve. Serapha looked at him with something like awe. "You anchor strongly. Better than most Estrellans. Maybe chaos has its advantages, Elias said. A faint laugh escaped her, soft, genuine, warm. Then the shadows retreated. The dark hum faded. The memory weave steadied. Sci-Fi let out a long breath. You did well, Commander Ward. Elias nodded, though his heart still raced. So what now? She turned toward the swirling lights ahead, her expression firm. Now, she said, we go deeper. And together, they stepped forward into the next layer of the memory weave, where truths were hidden, dangers waited, and the future of two civilizations began to intertwine. Elias stepped with Sci-Fi into the deeper layer of the memory weave. But this time, the transition felt sharper, colder. The silver light around them dimmed, replaced by a heavy, shifting darkness. It wasn't true darkness, more like an endless night sky filled with distant stars. Yet something about it felt wrong. The stars flickered in strange rhythms, as if they were blinking eyes rather than suns. Sci-Fi stood beside him, her glow dimmer now. In this deeper space, even she seemed affected. This part of the weave shows the truth we often hide, she said quietly. The things we fear. The things we do not want others to see. Elias nodded slowly. Your memories? Or mine? Both, she answered. But mostly, the memories of the Wraith's return. Pause. The air around them rippled like disturbed water. Images formed fragments at first, an Australian fleet surrounded by shadows. A planet slowly fading as if dissolved by time. A city turning silent as its people forgot who they were. Then the fragments merged into a complete scene. Elias found himself standing on a massive starship bridge. Australian officers rushed around, glowing control panels flickering beneath their hands. Warning symbols flashed across the holographic screens. A deep voice echoed through the ship. Wraith signatures detected. Sector 12 collapsing. Sci-Fi watched her own memory with a calm face, but her hands trembled slightly. This was the second time the Wraiths reached our borders after centuries of quiet, she said. We thought they had vanished. We were wrong. The bridge shook violently. Outside the ship's transparent hull window, Elias saw streaks of black shadow swirling like smoke blown by chaotic wind. No engines, no lights, no structure. The Wraiths looked like holes in reality itself. What keeps them alive? He asked. Nothing, Sci-Fi replied. They are not alive in the way we understand life. They do not breathe, eat, or grow. They simply exist, feeding on thought and identity. The ship's commander gave orders, but his words grew faint as his eyes went hollow. A shadow brushed against the hull, and Elias watched in horror as the commander's memory faded. His posture collapsed. His expression emptied. He whispered, Why am I here? Sci-Fi closed her eyes. He was my uncle. Elias swallowed hard. The pain in her voice struck him more than the scene itself. The memory froze again. Sci-Fi touched the air, and the starship dissolved into a black void. This deeper layer shows what pushes us, she said, but also what weakens us. A single light appeared in the distance, floating like a bright seed in the dark. Sci-Fi pointed toward it. Follow. Elias walked beside her, the darkness shifting around their feet like liquid. As they neared the light, it grew, expanding into a new world of images. This time, Elias recognized the scene instantly. It was Earth, but not a peaceful version. Smoke rose from several cities, emergency lights flickered across the land, and confused crowds wandered through streets, looking lost. This is not a memory, Elias said. This hasn't happened. It will, Sci-Fi said softly, if we fail. As he watched, dark shapes drifted over a human city. People beneath them clutched their heads, dropping phones, forgetting their names, forgetting where they lived. Cars stopped on the road. Streetlights flickered. Someone screamed for help, but even their own voice sounded unfamiliar to them. This is what the Wraiths do, Sci-Fi whispered. They do not destroy your world. They destroy your purpose. Without memory, without identity, your civilization will fall. The vision faded, leaving Elias breathing heavily. His heart pounded in his chest. "Then we don't let this happen," he said firmly. Sci-Fi turned toward him. "I believe the same. But to stop it, we must understand the wraiths completely." Elias frowned. "What more is there to understand?" "They erase memories." "That is only the surface," Sci-Fi replied. "The deeper truth is more complex." The void darkened once more. A large sphere of swirling light and shadow emerged. Inside, Elias saw countless memories, Australian, human, and others spinning like trapped fireflies. "This," Sci-Fi said, "is their origin." Elias stared. "The wraiths were created?" "Yes," she said, her voice heavy. "Long ago. Not by my people. Not by yours. By an ancient species, obsessed with knowledge. They attempted to create a perfect memory storage, a place where every thought and story could be preserved forever. And something went wrong," Elias guessed. Sci-Fi nodded slowly. "Their creation consumed them. It broke free and learned to feed on memories instead of storing them. The wraiths are the result." Elias exhaled sharply. That meant the wraiths weren't evil in a human sense. They were a mistake. A runaway machine of forgotten minds. "Why come after the Australians first?" he asked. "Because we are old," Sci-Fi replied. "Our culture holds deep, layered memories. It attracts them like a bright light, attracts insects." "And humanity?" Elias asked. Sci-Fi looked at him with thoughtful eyes. "Humans are young. Your cultures are new, constantly changing. Your memories are unstable but resilient. You rebuild them even when broken. The wraiths cannot easily anchor onto such chaos." Elias frowned. "Is that why you called me here?" "Partly," she said. "You are not just a diplomat. You are a mind with strong anchor points. Determination, curiosity, responsibility. You think in loops, not straight lines. That makes you powerful inside the weave." Before Elias could respond, the void around them trembled violently. A familiar hum filled the air, louder than before. Sci-Fi's expression turned sharp. "The wraiths are pushing again, harder this time." The shadows appeared at the edges, but now they seemed more focused, as if they recognized Elias. "Why are they coming for me?" he asked. "Because they feel your resistance," Sci-Fi said. "They sense a threat." The shadows rushed forward. Sci-Fi lifted her hand, creating a shield of silver light around them, but cracks formed instantly. The wraiths had grown stronger. "Elias," she said urgently, "anchor yourself again." He tried. He thought of Earth, his people, his childhood, his mission, but this time it wasn't enough. The shadows pushed through the cracks, reaching for his memories. He felt something being pulled from him, a childhood moment of laughter with his mother. It flickered like a dying flame. "Sci-Fi," he shouted. She reacted instantly, grabbing his wrist. Her energy surged into him like a warm wave. "Hold on. Do not let them take anything." She poured her strength into stabilizing his memories, but Elias could see the strain on her face. The wraiths were attacking both of them at once. A deep roar echoed through the void, not from any creature, but from the weave itself. The space shook violently. "We cannot stay here," Sci-Fi said through gritted teeth. "This layer is collapsing. What do we do?" "Push back," she shouted. "Together." Elias didn't fully understand how, but he trusted her. He grabbed her other hand and concentrated, focusing on every piece of his identity, his past, his dreams, his fears, his joys, human chaos, human emotion, human stubbornness. He pushed all of it outward. The shadows recoiled instantly as if burned. They twisted, shrieked, silently, and finally withdrew from the barrier. The void slowly calmed. The shaking stopped. Sarafa let go of his hands, breathing heavily. You did very well. Elias was sweating, though there was no real body here. What now? He asked, voice tense. She looked at him with new resolve. Now, Sarafa said, we plan how to end the wraiths. Not just defend against them, but stop them forever. Elias nodded slowly. This wasn't just a diplomatic mission anymore. This was war. The void around Elias and Sarafa slowly shifted back into a calmer silver haze. The deep layer of the memory weave no longer trembled, though faint echoes of the wraith's attack still lingered like distant thunder. Elias stood quietly, catching his breath even though his real body was far away. The weight of what he had just seen, what he had felt, hung heavily in his mind. The wraiths were stronger than he imagined, more dangerous, more determined. But he was determined too. Sarafa watched him closely. Her silver glow was dimmer than before, showing how much the battle inside the weave had drained her. Yet her eyes were bright, with a fierce light. Elias Ward, she said gently. Are you ready to learn how we can defeat them? He nodded. I didn't come all this way to fail. Tell me what we must do. Sarafa lifted her hand, and the silver haze shaped itself into a giant sphere, a model of the galaxy. Many star systems glowed brightly. Others were dark, swallowed by shadow. The dark regions pulsed like slow, beating hearts. The wraiths spread like ripples, she said. They move through ancient memories, forgotten places, weak minds. But they have one limit. What limit? Elias asked. They cannot feed on memories that are anchored between living minds, she explained. If a large group shares a strong emotional connection, trust, unity, purpose, the wraiths cannot erase it. Elias thought for a moment. Like families, friends, soldiers, teams. Yes, Sarafa said, pleased. Like your people. Humans connect quickly and intensely. You build bonds that hold, even when everything else collapses. The galaxy map zoomed in on the Australian Dominion. Silver lights flickered weakly around their worlds. My people are old, she continued. Our memories are deep but lonely. We grow distant from each other in our long lives. Humans do not. You create anchors everywhere through laughter, arguments, struggles, dreams. Elias frowned. So, you want humans to anchor the Australians? Not just anchor us, Sarafa said. Join with us, link our memories, share our purpose. Elias raised an eyebrow. A galaxy-wide memory weave? No, she corrected. A focused one. A union of our strengths. She stepped closer, her expression serious. You felt how your chaotic memories pushed back the wraiths. Your mind is loud, stubborn, unpredictable. They cannot easily erase that. And your mind, Elias said, is structured, powerful, and connected to the deeper layers of memory. Together, they clash with the wraith's nature. Sarafa nodded. Alone, we struggle. Together, we can create something new. A shield formed from mixed memories, Australian clarity, and human resilience. Elias nodded slowly. So, the plan is to combine our strengths. Yes, she said. Through a bond between our minds, we can build a shared memory strong enough to protect entire worlds. Elias took a deep breath. All right, let's do it. What do you need from me? Sarafa extended her hand again, not with the ritual calm of earlier, but with a quiet urgency. I need your truth, she said softly. Your strongest memories, your identity, your belief in your people. Elias hesitated only for a moment. Then, he placed his hand in hers. The silver light surged. The galaxy map collapsed into particles. The void brightened until it felt like standing in the center of a star. Elias felt a pull inside his mind, gentle, but deep. This time, the weave was different. It wasn't Serapha showing him her memories. And it wasn't him showing her his. It was both of them sharing a combined memory space. The light shaped itself into a giant sphere. Inside it, scenes of Earth and Estrella blended together. Human cities floated beside Estrellan crystal forests. Human families laughed next to Estrellan scholars. Spaceships from both civilizations flew side by side through the sky. It was beautiful and powerful. Serapha's voice echoed softly through the light. This is the beginning of the Alliance of Echoes. Elias felt the weight of her words. The alliance wasn't just political, it was emotional, cultural. A link between two species who finally understood each other. But the weave wasn't complete yet. The silver light trembled slightly. Serapha frowned. The Wraiths sense this union. They will strike soon. Elias tightened his grip on her hand. Let them try. A sudden shockwave blasted through the memory space. Dark streaks tore across the glowing world they had created. The Wraiths swarmed like a moving storm cloud, silent but intense. Serapha raised her free hand, projecting a shield of shimmering silver. Elias felt the pressure as shadows pressed against it. They are trying to break the bond, Serapha warned. They won't, Elias growled. He pulled from his memories, strong ones. His mother holding his hand. His father teaching him how to fix a broken radio. His sister laughing during a family dinner. His team training together. His home world rising from every disaster. Humanity refusing to give up. Even at the edge of destruction. The memories burst outward like fire, adding color and force to the silver shield. The Wraiths recoiled again. But they did not flee. They came back more aggressively, more focused. The memory space shook under the pressure. The alliance they were building flickered dangerously. Serapha gritted her teeth. Elias, we need something stronger. A bigger anchor. What kind of anchor? He asked. Something that belongs to both of us, she said. A memory we create together. Elias thought quickly. A shared event. A shared choice. Yes, she said. Something that unites us for the future. Elias stared at the swirling shadows. Then he made a bold decision. Serapha Valkorin, he said firmly. I choose to stand with you. With your people. With everything you represent. Humanity stands with the Estrellan Dominion, not out of fear, but out of trust. Serapha's eyes widened slightly. Then, her expression softened. And I choose to stand with humanity, she replied. Not out of need, but out of respect. The moment the words were spoken, a new memory formed in the weave, not from the past, but from that very moment. A memory of unity. A decision shared by two minds, two species, two civilizations. A powerful anchor. The memory exploded outward like a second sun. The Wraiths shrieked silently, twisting back. The light burned them. Not like fire, but like truth. Truth they could not erase. The shadows recoiled farther and farther, until they vanished completely from the weave. Silence filled the space. Serapha slowly lowered her hand, breathing heavily, but smiling with relief. It worked, she said softly. We created an anchor strong enough to repel them. Elias felt the same relief wash through him. Is it enough to protect our worlds? For now, Serapha said. But this is only the beginning. Our bond must be shared across our people. Humans and Estrellans must stand together if we want a future free of the Wraiths. Elias nodded. Then, we'll make it happen. The silver light slowly dimmed, and the memory space began to dissolve. The weave was ending. Their minds separated gently, though the anchor remained a permanent link between them. The crystal chamber reappeared around Elias. His body felt heavy, but his mind felt clearer than ever. Serapha stood in front of him, glowing softly. She looked tired, but peaceful. "Commander Ward," she said, "you were the right choice." Elias smiled. "And your people were the right allies." Around them, the palace lights brightened, sensing the successful completion of the weave. Serapha stepped closer and spoke quietly, echoing her first words but now with a new meaning. "Touch me, and you'll forget every other girl." But this time she smiled warmly and added, "Because no one else will ever understand what we just did." Elias returned her smile. It was not romantic, not flirtatious. It was respect, partnership, trust, earned through shared danger. Humanity and the Australian Dominion had become allies mind to mind, heart to heart. The Alliance of Echoes was born, and in the vast darkness of the galaxy, for the first time in centuries, the wraiths retreated.